One night I was thinking of a painless way to die. I found myself succumbing to sleep. Drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and nightmares of reality, I didn't notice her enter my room. Next thing I knew, there was a face staring right down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime or earth-like fillers. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose, all things that I'd never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. I sighed in admiration, savoring the first peace and joy since regaining my sight. She had not expected such reaction apparently. She asked, looking at the clock. I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. No time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. She tried to expect me to mistake her for a ghost, but I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. I assumed she was the daughter of a late shift doctor and another patient. It was unusual, but not unthinkable for such a girl to be wandering around the hospital. I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned that I realized I hadn't thought of what to say next. Her beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze climbing my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence. The owner concerned with property. Yeah, whatever. I let my words come as they willed. Saya looked confused at first, then she smiled like she just found a new toy. Her smile was brighter than my myriads of the sun. She said, holding out her slender white hand. Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel her human warmth and softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back with joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate.
Huh?
She said, winnowing her finger gently against mine. She replied. And so our rendezvous began. Saya came to my room every night at 3 a.m., skillfully taking advantage of the duties nurse's shift change. I was astonished when she was living inside the hospital. She said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. She had been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until one day he suddenly stopped coming home. After she got tired of waiting for his return, Saya decided one night to sneak out into the hospital where he worked. And there she lived for over 2 months, searching for his whereabouts all the while. She was a strange girl. On the one hand, she looked and talked like an innocent child. On the other, she was remarkably self-reliant, and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. I didn't care. Saya was the only other human in the world, in a world gone mad. Her intelligence meant far more to me than the standards of society. That is diabolically evil, holy crap. Her confession reminded me that the hospital is famous for its ghost stories. Who could imagine that there was actually a real girl impishly roaming these hallways? While our pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing that brought us together. Wow, he seems very comfortable sleeping on rotten flesh and having even the blanket is rotting flesh. He's like, I don't give a fuck. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder. It was growing obvious that the doctor had no way to cure me. In fact, I had undergone a still experimental procedure, maybe even more cautious. As a medical student, it's easy for me to imagine how the doctor reacted if discovered I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig, a mere specimen to examine with clinical detachment. And so I hid my discomfort and loading behind a mask of normalcy. Being Dr. Einstein and stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Sad with my support, looking forward to our nightly visits gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. Hope can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I recovered a pace that left the doctor stunned. On the last night before my release, I summoned my courage and asked her, in other words, she had no reason to stay. The question took all the courage I had. I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of that, so I hastily offered a deal. I able to control myself, finally spoke the truth. Aww. I don't care what you think. This relationship between Fuminori and Saya, it's pretty cute so far. I like it. At first she looked bewildered, but after a few months of silence, she said, That night, she left my room earlier than usual. On the day of my release, I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling celebratory bouquet. The flesh beasts calling themselves Koji, Omi, and Yo came to pick me up. Though they had come see me many times during my stay, it never got easier to see my face change so my friends change so horribly. My son's tears of despair draw suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. When I walked to Koji's car with desperate beside him in the grotesque scenery. He never drove away. I kept watching the hospital fade in the distance, praying for my last glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. Oh, why you gotta play this song? As recording the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I'd lived my entire life on this block, in this house. There was another place I could call home, but nothing with that I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took the yard where I spent my childhood, I feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house I found nothing familiar, nothing to offer me comfort and warmth. Once called home was now another world. There was one more stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. I stepped into the room that cradled me from childhood. The walls were papered with human entrails, the bed was a tangled mess of worm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled on the bed like an abandoned cat, was Saya. I stood there in shock. He woke me up with a tiny, weak voice, said, I responded by swooping into my arms, embracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist. Okay, I guess that was the backstory for Fuminori about how he met Saya. Something I kind of wish they did. They don't do this, spoiler alert. I kind of wish we got to see Fuminori and his friends before the accident. Maybe like the scene where Yo confesses to Fuminori. I want to see how Fuminori was before the accident. We hear that he was a nice guy, but we never really see it. I'll take their word. When she arrived at the Sakisaka house, only first take a deep breath to calm herself. Her anger does not vanish entirely, of course, but at least now she can hear herself think. While waiting for a response from the intercom, she looks over the patch of yard that can be seen from outside the gate. Even Omi is normally one to complain about others' housekeeping, but this is going too far. The grass is growing wild, and there are piles of dead leaves scattered everywhere. It doesn't look untinted. It looks like no did a ruin. It's still light out, but every window at storm shutter is tightly sealed. Omi guessed they had been closed since morning. What kind of life is Fuminori leading? Even if he's alone, he can't elect his housework forever. It's just imagination. It's always stink like rotten meat. It could be coming from the kitchen, from the yard, could it? I don't know. I mean, kitchen, yard, same thing. They're not really. There's no response, so she presses the buzzer a second time, a third, and a fourth. Finally, after she'd gone home for 10 minutes, Omi loses her patience and opens the cover of the intercom. As she expected, the power had been disconnected. Perhaps Fuminori had a good reason for shutting out the world, but Omi still had the lack of respect for others. Her anger recurring, she pushes the gate open and stops through the yard to the front door. Given the state of his intercom, she shouts to Fuminori to respond to her knock. Omi decides to sleepy open the door and go in shouting. And if the door is locked, she'll have to. Finally, the doorknob turns easily in her hands, and in enraged Omi finds herself throwing the door open wider than she intended. Her nostrils are instantly assaulted by a choking stench. As Omi stands petrified by on the threshold, the cowbell hanging on the inside of the door chimes loudly. A moment later. What was that? Omi can't believe her ear. The voice she heard could not have been human, yet intonation were too complex for every animal she can imagine. There was no response. Instead, she used the sound of something soft and went flopping its way deeper into the house. Finding difficult to place a meaningful image to the voice she has heard, Omi stared blankly at the empty vestibule. Nothing there, not even Fuminori's shoes, which can only mean that he's still outside somewhere, wearing them. How should it be empty? Then what was that voice just now? Omi, don't be a stereotypical horror person. Just run, dude, just run. Please save yourself. Her anger has vanished if there was nothing there. Notice, Omi set foot into the hallway, leaving the door open that the cowbell won't ring. The floor creaks, setting her nerves on edge. Omi herself isn't sure why she acted like a burglar, telling Tara to make little noise as possible. Pretending she has a stick inside the house make the whiff she caught outside pale in comparison. It's sickening like her fish guts. Had food been left to spoil in the kitchen? She hears a bubbling sound up ahead. Stepping gingerly on the creaking floorboards, Omi makes her way to the end of the hallway. She finds rooms to both sides of hers, one lit, the other dark, and chooses to look into the lit room. It's the kitchen, lit by what must be the only window in the house not covered by a storm shutter. The sound she heard was the pot boiling in the stove, and on the chopboard next to it lies a butcher knife, some has-diced carrots. A very normal household scene, with the light of the setting sun making everything the color of decomposing fruit. Something is wrong. Who was cooking here? Where did they go? As the words echo vainly through the silent house, she begins to feel foolish and defenseless. Suddenly, she feels something cold seep through her pantyhose. She timidly reaches down to feel her feet. Her fingertips come away covered in a vicious, olive-green slime, as if we water from a tank long clogged with algae and dead fish. The whole floor is covered with it. It must be the surface of the stench. Omi now wished she had worn her shoes inside, made her to be damned. While she looks back ruefully the way she came, she realized that her current position is not visible from the entrance. This kitchen must be where the strange voice came from. The next room is probably the den. As you pick from the closed room, the storm shutters, it's pitch black inside. Only wants something to do than flee from the house, but that would mean turning her back to the darkness, and that she could not bring herself to do. Just run, please, don't be an idiot. You see, if people were not idiots in horror movies, they'd make it. It's too dark to see anything, and the stink is far worse than before. So I had her hand along the wall, feeling for the light switch. Find sooner than she expected, she flips it on for her last hope. Colors. Colors. So many colors. The purple of entrail, the brown of rotten meat, the crimson of fresh blood, the yellow of fat. These colors, where I cannot be described, cover every inch of the room in maddening array. The colors say that needs to be said about the painter's hatred, malice, and insanity. Always will give out a shock, seeing to the floor. So I immediately soaked for her jeans, its cold tendrils creeping up her legs, crotch, and her neck. Her hands fly to her neck, where greeted by another drip of chilling slime. Above her, something dripping down her head. Eager after the worst end of her life, Omi looks up. The predator clinging to a ceiling. Poised to leap up upon his prey, she sees in every detail. Her mouth and nose are sealed before she can scream, and her belly torn open as someone enters to feast on her innards. But by the time she feels any of this, Omi has already gone mad. So, did Saya just... Was that Saya? Yeah, it had to be Saya. Unless, you know, Fuminori has some creepy monster in his house. Or maybe Saya is the creepy monster in his house. Who knows? Yeah, I don't want to see what... I do not want to know what's going to happen. Next episode, we'll find out that Fuminori was on a train and now he's going back home. And he'll probably see Omi dead. And maybe he'll like that. No, he's not that much of a scumbag. Yet.